Hi, my name is David, and I'm going to walk you through how I solved the CSWP practice problem 11.6. So for this problem, we're going to start in the right plane, and we're going to start drawing the main shape. This part we're going to draw off to the side and then connect it in later. Okay, so we'll start in the right plane, enter line mode, go down 15, and then over something. And then what I'll do is I'll just create the little tombstone shape later. And for now, just work on these parts right here. Okay, something like that. Let me start dimensioning things. So for this part, it's 5. And if we see there's a 30-degree angle coming off from this horizontal to this line, but this line here and this line here are parallel, and so this angle right here should also be 30 degrees. So I'm going to draw that angle just for convenience, or dimension that angle, because I can just select the line and then select this endpoint here, and that will create a horizontal for me to make this angle 30 degrees. Okay, and that's starting to lock some things into place. And here I want to make sure that this point is horizontal to this point. There we go. Let's see what I have. Okay, I can still move this around. Okay. And I'll move this guy over. All right. Let's draw a little bit more of this shape, just so we have it. We'll go over a little bit and then up a little bit. Okay, how far over to go? It looks like 9. And how far up to go? Not 100% sure. Okay, this one we'll have to figure out in a little bit. Okay, let's try drawing the tombstone. So we'll draw this arc here and then back to this line. Okay, let me make sure that these two are perpendicular. Looks like I set up the perpendicular relationship here, but not for this one here. So click on this, control click, and make perpendicular. All right, and it looks like this is radius 1. And this length here is 1. And the distance from here to the side of the tombstone is 2. Oops, I'm sorry. The distance from the side to the center of the tombstone is 2. Okay, great. Okay, so this can be moved a little bit, but we're going to have to figure out how to lock that one down in place. Actually, there's one thing that we can set up, which is the horizontal distance from the origin to this point should be 10. That should help to lock a lot of things down. Okay, so now we have this part right here and this part right here. We're going to create that shape that we mentioned. So this little shape we're going to create off to the side and then slide it into place, lock it down with some relations. So let's start focusing on this shape. We have all the dimensions of the shape right here, so there's some symmetry going on. Okay, and because of that symmetry, I'm going to start by drawing a center line. Okay, and we're going to just draw half the shape, roughly. And we'll get our radius of 2 going. We'll get the, I guess that's pretty much the main thing. Okay, we'll make tangent there. And we can also set the horizontal dimension for the mirrored version of this, which we're going to mirror in a second. But we can click on the center line. Oops. Go into dimensioning. Click on the center line, shift click on the arc, and then go across the center line and set the dimension to 10. Okay, so it looks like this is ready to mirror. Looking good. And now we can go ahead and work on the slot inside. So we'll create a slot. The height of the slot is 2. Okay. And that's automatically centered because we had this mirroring going on. And then we'll create this little part down here. Which we want to be symmetric as well. So we'll set up a symmetric relation between those lines. The bottom line has dimension 2. This vertically is 2. Okay, and then from the bottom, it's 1. And then the angle, I'm going to click on the line, click on one of its endpoints, and then we want the angle from the horizontal. That should be 75. Okay, definitely not fully defined because we haven't locked it into place relative to the origin or anything. So we need to slide this into here. Move it over. And just double check the dimensions. Okay, so we got this one. This is 2, 2, radius 2, 10, 75, 1, and 2. Okay, so it looks like we got all the dimensions from this picture right here that define this shape. So now fitting it in, well, for one thing, this point right here and this point right here should be coincident. And these two lines should be collinear, so that this line just continues up into that shape. So that's this part right here. It should just continue up. And then over on the left side, we want this vertical line. Well, we want it to stop right at the center of the slot arcs. So basically we can, between this point and this point, make those horizontal. Or even just take this whole center line here and make it coincident to the point over here. That would work as well. Or make this point horizontal to this arc. Many different ways of doing it. Okay, so now we can move this up and down, but we want to make sure that this part is touching this point now. So click on the arc, click on the line, and make sure that they're tangent. Okay, and it's looking pretty good. All right, let's see what else we have to do here. Oh, okay, and then there's one more thing that we can do, which is move it up and down. So we need to set that vertical limit. So here it looks like it's 4 from the top of that shape that we created to the origin. Top of the shape to the origin is 4. Okay, now we're fully defined, looking good. We can extrude, distance of 6, this part, and then go back into the sketch, extrude a distance of 6 plus 2, this part, because the thickness here is 6, but then plus this extra 2 for this shape that we created. And now we can work on this cut. We see a top-down view of the cut. So I'll just grab this face here and start a sketch in it and create roughly what the shape should look like. It's some kind of trapezoidal shape. Now we do want, some kind of symmetry going on here, so I'm going to create a center line from the midpoint to this midpoint, and make sure that this center line is horizontal. And we can make sure that we have the symmetry going on as well. Okay, looking good. And then start dimensioning it. This would be 6 across here. Slide this around. And for this part, this was a little bit confusing to me at first, but from here to here, we don't really have the dimension, but we do have this construction circle that has a diameter of 7 that appears to be along the same center line that we just created, that sort of the symmetry, center line of symmetry, sorry. And so, although it's not going to necessarily be 7 across from this point to this point, it will be touching the construction circle at that point and this point right here. So let's set up the circle. We're going to set up the circle with diameter of 7, and we'll hit Alt-C to make a construction. And we just want to make sure that this is along the same line of symmetry, so we can make coincident to this line of symmetry here. That way we can move it this direction, but not away from that center line. Okay, and let's make sure we have all the other dimensions that we need. So the height here is 3. And the distance away from the center line here is 5. I'll set that up right here. Okay, so now let's lock the trapezoid down to the circle. So basically we need this point to be, we need this point to be coincident to the circle, which by symmetry automatically puts this point coincident to the circle as well. And we need this line to be tangent to the circle as well. So you can see that when all the relations are set up, the center of the circle is not along this line, and so this line here doesn't have a length of 7, it's 6.93 instead. Alright, so let's cut. We're going to cut down 14, looks like. And then the last thing to do is make the holes on this face. So we'll go into Hole Wizard. Looks like these are countersink, so CSK would stand for countersink, and then M2 flathead screw. So we're going to make sure that we click countersink, go into ANSI metric, flathead screw, that's the first one, and then M2. And I was just doing this problem, so I have it all preloaded here. And we want to make sure the end condition is through all as well. So we'll switch over to positions and put a couple of holes there. I'm going to draw a center line because it looks like these are centered along that rectangle. And so we'll position those along the center line. The distance from this hole center to the top is 3. Now we're not given the distance from this hole center to the bottom or the distance between these two, but just by the way it looks from symmetry, I'm going to make the assumption that this hole is 3 from the bottom. Technically, as long as we're not too far off on our hole, it shouldn't change the volume, but those are the assumptions I made to try to match the picture as accurately as possible. Okay, so let me draw a center line from the midpoint of the top of the rectangle to the bottom, and make sure that these guys are coincident. Oops. Do it one at a time here. So coincident and coincident. And make sure this is 3 from the top and then 3 from the bottom. Can hit D, green check mark. Okay. I'll try that again. D, green check mark. Oh, okay, that was green check mark for the dimensioning. Okay, there we go. So it drilled those holes for us. Let's go ahead and check the volume. We've got 1386.04 cubic millimeters. 1386.5 cubic millimeters. Off a little bit, but I'm not sure exactly what is happening. It's definitely within the 1% that we would need. If you did get this exact answer, the 1386.5 cubic millimeters, please let me know in the comments. But I think this answer will do. So I'm going to call it a video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and keep studying.